What up, IDS Mob? It's your boy HarryWilmington, back with another episode of the Introvert Dating Success Show, courtesy of introvertdatingsuccess.com. Now, I just finished filming a video or slash podcast, which you probably heard a couple days ago. But so I'm in a hotel in Vegas right now, and I'm killing time. So I went to my room and I was flipping through YouTube, and I came across this video by a woman who gives advice to men. And the title of the video is 12 Reasons Why She Never Texts First, but responds when you do. So I watched through this video, and there were a lot of things that when she was saying them, I was just like, oh, that's not actually what's going on. So here's the thing. I figured it would be worth my time to go over this video with you guys, because there's going to be a lot of people in the space, both men and women, who are attempting to give well-meaning advice or give well-meaning insights. And a lot of times it's just not. And that's not to say everything she says is not correct. There are certain parts of this video that I'll mention that I do agree with, but a lot of the information that she's given to guys as to why women want to text first is just wrong. And here's what I want to stress overall, basically, okay? It's this, is that high interest level cuts everything. Shout outs to rest in peace to Doc Love, who came up with that concept. But yeah, this idea that women that have high interest in you are going to still play texting games or not try to hit you up first, on average, that's not happening. Typically, women that have a high interest in you are going to want to find ways to contact you if you're doing everything on your side of things the right way, okay? So I'll get into what those things are, but we're going to go through this lady's video, hear what she has to say, and I'm going to stop at each point that she makes and explain whether I agree with it or disagree with it and why, all right? So let's go ahead and get and this is a woman named Jessica Oss. She has a whole channel on YouTube here, so definitely check that out if you get a chance. But I'm going to go through this and you'll see how I feel about things. Okay, so let's go ahead and get it started right now.
I know you want to yell at her and ask her why she behaves like that. I know you're feeling lost and frustrated because she never texts you first and yet will respond when you do. And you have every right to feel that way, to be honest. You have every right to wonder whether it's just a game or this person is probably just uninterested in stringing you along. I mean, does she like you or is she just trying to be polite?
Women that have high interest in you, A, they're going to respond to you when you do text, depending on how often you're texting. I want to stress this, that you don't want to do a bunch of over texting. So I tell you guys, texting kills attraction. You should be using texting primarily to be setting up dates. But the benefit of that is that if you're only using texting to set up dates, she can never get tired of your text and she cannot get bored of your text or annoyed by them because you're only doing it to be able to set up times to see her in person, okay? But when you do that, what's happening is you're actually not texting that much at all. So that way, the times that she wants to hear from you when you're not in her presence, she will reach out to you during those times because she's gonna feel the thing of, I wanna connect with him right now. I wanna hear from him. I wanna see what he's up to. And you wanna build that up in a woman. This is why if you're not being a texty guy all the time, then you're going to allow her to naturally want to reach out to you. But if you're a guy that's trying to text her for all these various frivolous conversations, yeah, she's gonna probably not want to reach out to you that often because at some point she's gonna know he's gonna text me at some point, so I'll just wait for the text to come through. And I think she mentioned that in the video at some point, but we'll get more into that when she makes that point. Anyway, continuing on.
Now, if you have a lot of these questions on your mind, in today's video, I'm happy to share 12 reasons why she never texts you first and yet responds whenever you text.
And like I said, guys, women that like you, when you reach out to them for whatever reason, and especially pertaining to like getting dates, they're going to respond. Why? Because a woman that recognizes you as a guy that she has a high interest in, she's not going to want to be doing things that are going to risk you possibly going away. Because women rarely come across a guy that they feel they really connect with. So when they do, you are in effect the prize, meaning, and it's not, and I don't ever say that meaning that like, women can't be the prize as well, but it does mean that, as a guy, us going out there to try to find women that we like, it's going to be very, very easy. Women trying to find a man that they really like and connect with, it's a lot harder for them because they have offers coming to them all the time, and picking the best offer is not the easiest thing for them to do. That's why I say you end up being the prize, because you are the rare gem of a guy that she's seeing in a sea full of other dudes that are trying to get at her that she's not quite connecting with.
Number one, you like her, but so do other guys. All right, so she has a lot of attention coming in from so many men. And so sometimes it's really hard for her to keep track and catch up with everybody. And indeed, she has many unread messages on her phone simply because she can't seem to keep up with all the attention she constantly gets from guys.
So what she's saying is that she's getting so much attention from other guys that she just can't happen to text you first because there's a sea of other guys that are ahead of you in line, and how is she going to get to you? And yet, here's the thing, is that it could be very true that she has all these other guys that are texting her and she's getting back to them. But I can guarantee you, the one guy that she's going to be most likely to reach out to is a guy that is not constantly texting her all the time. Because she has, let's say there's 10 guys. You're one of 10 guys, right? And 9 of the other guys are constantly texting her all the time. Well, after day 2 or 3, she's going to start to think geez, all these guys are texting me and they constantly hit me up for no reason. But except for that one guy, how come I haven't heard from that one guy yet? Does he not find me desirable? I mean, I thought we had a pretty decent date the first time, or a decent conversation early on, and now he's not texting me. Did I do something wrong? Is there something that I need to do? Should I reach out to him to see if everything's okay? And I found in my own life that if there are women that I was over texting and then I kind of went away for even a week, inevitably it's hey, what's going on? Where you at? So this is the thing where, yes, she could be getting all this attention, but if you're a guy that is limiting your texting, she's going to start to wonder what's going on. And also, she's going to start to build a higher interest in you because there's a thing that's going to pique her interest about the fact that you're a guy that is not constantly hitting her up, and what's that about? And now she's going to want to try to almost subconsciously prove to you why you need to be hitting her up more. But if you just lay back and just only text her when you're supposed to be asking for a date, you're going to find that over time, she's going to start to reach out more. Just want to check in and see how you're doing. Just wanted to see what you're up to. Hey, I haven't heard from you in a couple days. Is everything okay? Did I make you mad in some way? So that's how you can do that, guys.
2, so she's not quite sure how she feels about you. And the truth is, you haven't really won her heart just yet. And so texting you is an extra effort that she may not want to put in at all, or it might feel lazy to do.
Okay, so here's the thing. If she hasn't built up enough feelings for you yet, that still doesn't necessarily mean that she's not going to reach out to you. Because again, it's not about if she's completely 100% sure about you being the one she wants to date. It's about the fact that if she's not hearing from you, just by nature of her wanting to know that you on some level like her, that she's not making you mad, she will reach out to you, okay? So don't fall for this thing of well, she just has to be 100% into me before she's gonna start reaching out to me more. That's not how this works. You take her on a couple of dates, you show her a fun time, and then when you kind of lay back and be patient, she's gonna start thinking about you and wondering why it is she hasn't heard from you and you basically become the part of the day that she wants that she's not getting. So she has to reach out to you to be able to hear from you, okay? And again, this isn't game playing. This is recognizing that women that are getting hit up all the time, it just may be that you need to give them a little bit more space for them to start to realize the feelings that they're having for when you don't hit them up, all right?
Yourself in such a situation, make sure you quickly try to define what it is that both of you have so you can always be on the same page.
Nope, don't do that. Nope. She's doing a thing where it's oh, you know what you need to do in order to get her to text you first? You need to define the relationship. This is not what this is about. No. On average, it takes a woman 2 to 3 months to solidify her feelings. We're talking about phone text and conversations in the first couple of dates. You are not trying to define what you guys are in those first couple of dates, in that first couple of weeks, okay? So again, this goes back to women that have high interest or are building high interest in you will reach out to you, but only if you're not hounding them all the time. You don't have to have any kind of conversation about what kind of relationship you're at, or, well, you need to text me more, so that means we need to really kind of define what this is. Don't define anything. She will let you know when she's ready to define any aspect of the relationship by coming to you and saying, hey, so what are we? What's going on? Until that happens, you define nothing. You are the guy that reaches out to ask for dates, and that's it. You're not staying there to flirt extra. You're not there to build rapport. You're only using texting to get dates. And even then, I highly recommend phone calls, but some people are against that. That's fine. But that's when you use texting, is to ask for dates. You're not trying to do anything else besides that with the phone. And when that happens, you will find that she will start to reach out to you, A, to hear from you more, and B, to start asking when she can see you again.
Number 3. Now, don't forget that she may have a really terrible past with relationships with guys. And so she's sort of taking her time to just, mull over how she's feeling and whether these feelings are real this time and will result in something that will benefit her.
Okay, so she had a terrible experience with the previous guy that she dated. So what? You as a guy have had terrible experiences with previous women that you've dated. Her terrible past at dating has nothing to do with whether or not she's reaching out to you. She's not reaching out to you because chances are you're probably texting her too much, which is inhibiting her desire to want to text you first, okay? There are plenty of women that have bad relationships that jump into bad relationship after bad relationship, and all those guys get texts from her, okay? So it ain't about that.
Number 3. Maybe she just doesn't like to text, but she likes you. There are people like that. I am the other way around, though. I prefer text messages as opposed to phone calls. And sometimes the people in my life don't get that, But once you understand how I work and why I tend to, gravitate more towards text messages as opposed to phone calls, our relationship can be a little more smoother. Now, typically, my day is really, really busy. I feel like phone...
Okay, so for the first part, don't fall for that, okay? Her saying that she typically likes to text, she's not telling you in what capacity that is, because what she's basically saying is, I like texting in my friendship relationships, okay? Most women are totally fine texting the other day, and that could be their best girlfriend, their best guy friend, like whatever. It doesn't matter, doesn't differentiate, okay? But more importantly, just because she's quote unquote liking texting does not mean that that's the thing that actually attracts her. And this is the problem that I have a lot of times when women are giving advice, is that they give advice that is at times well-meaning, but it's not effective to how it actually attracts them. I've had so many women, for example, say that if a guy were to wait 4 days between dates to ask me out again, I would feel he's playing some kind of game and I wouldn't go out with him. And yet, in my dating experience, when I was trying to text women the next day after a date and the day after that, it started to, their attraction started to kind of go away. Whereas when I started taking women on dates, showing them a genuinely good time, and then trying to wait 4 or 5 days to contact them, I got more second dates. I was able to build attraction a lot quicker. I was able to end up doing physical things a lot quicker, and I was able to build to a relationship a lot better by me waiting between these dates. But if you were to ask women to give that as advice, they'd be like, I can't give that as advice. That's horrible advice. No woman would fall. And yet, it's not a matter of women falling for it. It's just, again, women typically need more time to build attraction. So you have to give them those days between dates to build it. Okay? So for her saying, oh, I need someone to text me all the time, that's a lie. Don't fall for it. You text only when you're asking for dates and trying to plan activities together. That is it. Anything other than that, you don't need to be texting her all the time. You can save your conversation for the date when she can not only hear your voice and see that you're playfully saying things, but also, smell you and touch you and all these other things that are going to collectively help her build attraction to you faster than just a texting exchange. Continuing.
Calls give me the sense of urgency, like I absolutely must talk now.
Okay, so she said that she doesn't like phone calls, but then she said, but phone calls, I take phone calls because at times it displays a sense of urgency. This is why I tell you guys, it's better to call women for dates, because if you're calling her, she's going to think, oh, this person's calling me. Most people text me, so this must be a very important call. Even if your call is just, hey, I just wanted to see if we can go on this and that. Well, this has now been made as an important call based on what she said, that she got a phone call, therefore it's important. So now she's equating something important happening with you phone calling, even if it's you calling for a date, okay? So this is why I typically tell you guys, calling for a date is going to feel better subconsciously and look better than just reading a bunch of words on a screen when she reads words from other people and sources all day long and it doesn't stand out. Your phone call is going to stand out.
If I receive a WhatsApp message or an iMessage, whatever you guys use, I could actually take my time and get back to it when I'm ready to respond. And for me, it's as basic as that.
Why? Because it's not an emergency. When you're texting her these things, it's not an emergency. She's going to take her time to answer versus when you do a phone call, she's like, oh my God, I got to pick up right now. And you're going to be able to get your date a lot faster. And you can ask for the date in the span of like a minute or two and be done versus having to keep sending text message after text message after text message. And that becomes monotonous also.
Perhaps she doesn't like SMSs and she'd rather prefer a phone call, or maybe you should ask her.
No, don't ask her. This is about you being a leader and you setting the ground rules for how this is going to work. So one of the ground rules you can set early on is, hey, in order for us to get a date, I'm going to call you up to get this date. So be on the lookout for my phone calls. That'll let you know I'm going to ask for a date. She's looking for you to lead this interaction on some level. And so you don't have to go to her and say, hey, so how would you like for me to hit you up for a date? Would it be through texting or smoke signals or phone call? Like, what do you, No. You contact her in any way you want to, because if she has high interest in you, she's going to take whatever contact you're giving her to be able to get to spend more time with you.
Number 4. Maybe she has other priorities going on with her at the time. Now, not every woman likes to share what she may be going through at any point in time. It could do with her job, her family, her friends, etc. And so, she may be going through quite a bit, and other things may be taking her attention, may need her urgent attention, and texting you at the moment may not be number 1 on her list.
The caveat for that is that if you're not texting her all the time, then she's going to still want to contact you, because high interest cuts everything. So if she has other priorities going on average for most women, the highest priority they typically have is trying to get into a relationship if they are single. And even if it's not at the top of the list exactly, it might be on like 2 or 3, it's still going to be a very high priority. So think about this. A woman who has been single for years, let's say she's in her like late 20s, early 30s, all right? She's been single for years, and then you come along and you show her a good time on a first date, and she's really feeling you. She thinks that you could possibly be the one at some point, all right? And then life happens. You think she's going to suddenly stop trying to reach out to you because other things going on? Again, women don't have the experience of consistently meeting men that they really gel with and connect with on a deep level. So when you come along and you're that guy, you are now a top priority. There's no way that she's not going to reach out to you, even if she has a bunch of other stuff going on. Again, I've been fortunate enough to date to where I dated women who had high value jobs that kept them busy for hours on end, or who had family situations going on, or whose parent recently died. And in all these situations, in spite of all they had going on, and all the turmoil and all the paperwork and all the family things they had going on, somehow they still managed to reach out to me to say, hey, I still want to plan a time to see you. Hey, I want to go on a date. Hey, I just want to talk to you on the phone. Hey, let's meet up for lunch sometime. Because when women are highly interested, they can't help but reach out to you, because you're going to be part of that day that's going to bring them excitement and happiness, even amongst the other various things that are going on. So even women that are highly, highly busy and have other priorities are going to make you a high priority. Again, the caveat being, unless you're reaching out to her all the time, in which case it becomes monotonous and annoying, and she's going to start to actually lose interest because you're doing it a bit too much.
If you're going to have her attention, perhaps in the future. So don't be too quick to judge her. She simply has other priorities going for her that are taking her attention at the moment.
And once again, even if a woman that is highly busy will still reach out to you and say, hey, I'm really swamped for like the next week, but let me get back to you at a different time, or hey, let's meet up for some other time. Because women that like you and want you to know that they emphatically do like you, if they can't respond to you or really reach out to you as heavily as they'd like to, they'll let you know, hey, I want to reach out some more. I got some stuff going on, but I'll set a time next week to talk. They'll still set up future times to actually legit meet up with you and talk with you. If they're not doing that, it's because they actually have low interest, not because they're highly busy with other things.
Number 5, she may be too busy to think of texting you first. Now, I don't know the kind of woman that's in your life, but I think you need to really pay attention to her schedules. Now, if she's someone who is really busy, a go-getter, is constantly occupied about, work and her life and trying to catch up with deadlines, she may not always have the time to send you a quick message. And it doesn't mean necessarily that she doesn't care. It could mean that, she just needs to get stuff out of the way so she can finally and eventually have time for you. And there are when people like that. However, at this point, take note that you may have to really be able to discern to find out what it actually is. Is it a matter of her just being really busy, say with work, or maybe she has a death in the family and they're making funeral arrangements, or, it could be anything. Just try to ascertain whether her busyness is genuine, so that you don't waste time with her if, for instance, you find out that she's just stringing you along and is really uninterested in any kind of relationship with you.
Okay, she went on a big old tangent about something, but she started off with saying she can't think of a thing to send you first. Now, here's the thing. A lot of women get in situations with men that are constantly making them feel as though they have to text all the time. You know, if the guy's constantly texting her random bull crap throughout the day, she's now thinking, crap, I got to send him random bull crap too. And over time, it can start to become an annoying task for her to have to keep thinking of new things to say to you. Because again, if you're not using texting solely just to set up dates and you're trying to use it as a means to actually have full-on conversations, well, a woman does have other things to do. And over time, she can start to think, it's not that she can't think of anything to say, it's that she doesn't want to do it. Most women I've talked to have said that an annoying thing for them is that guys want to constantly just bullcrap talk them all day about random stuff, and they got things to do, other people to hang with, and it's just not something that they want to do spending their time with. They have other things that they're attending to besides trying to have a random text conversation about, oh, how was your day today, and what did you do, and blah, 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 which are all things that are great to talk about on a date, which she's willing to do, but she doesn't want to have to do that through a texting realm all the time, okay? So this is why I promise you guys, you need to start going on these dates and telling women early on, hey, I'm not that big of a texter. I enjoy texting to get dates and stuff like that, but I'm really just not that big on the phone. You would be surprised at how many women will actually be relieved by that, because it means for them, oh, great, I don't have to do bull conversations anymore with a guy. This is fantastic. The only way she's going to feel that way is if she's thinking, crap, there's another guy that's going to get butthurt if I don't text him in the morning, hey, hello, how are you? What did you eat for breakfast? Yada, yada, yada. So don't be that guy, and then that won't happen. Pretty simple.
Plays inaccessible. Now, there are some women who do that. They do not want to be too accessible to the men in their lives.
I'm going to stop you right there. So she's saying she's trying to play inaccessible. But for one thing, if you are limiting your texting in the first place, then you aren't texting enough to her to be able to make her want to think she needs to give you the impression that she's inaccessible. Because you're not texting so much, she's going to want to hear from you more often than you're going to want to hear from her, because you're not texting her all the time. So she can't play the game of, I'm going to act like I'm inaccessible, because she's going to be too busy thinking, I haven't heard from this guy in like 2 days. What's going on? Is he trying to block me out? What's going on? And she's going to be thinking of ways to reach out to you versus ways to try to detach from you because you're texting her too much. All right. So again, that's a lie, because she can't play inaccessible if you're not accessing her all the time. Continuing on with what she's saying now.
It makes them feel cheap. It's like whenever you say jump, she says, how high and when do you want me back? I mean, a lot of women just do not want to be at your every beck and call. And so they deliberately make themselves inaccessible. And so, you know, in some weird way, you probably end up craving their presence, their attention, and their time. And so,
again, they only do that if you're the one that is texting way too much. So cut back on your texting and this can't happen.
Figure out the kind of woman that you're actually with to see if, you know, she's one of those people who are just playing inaccessible, or there's something else taking her time.
No, what's happening, and this is what happens for most women, is that the guy overtexts too much, and now she starts backing away, in part because she's thinking, okay, this guy texts me a lot. Let's see how he'll respond if I just don't answer his text for a few hours, or I'm inaccessible for like a couple of days or whatever. Let's see what happens. And a woman wouldn't have to test that if you weren't over texting, but when she does do this, that should be your signal. Oh crap, I'm texting too much. Let me back off and only hit her up again when I'm ready to actually take on another date. All this talking between dates, guys, I'm telling you, it is not necessary. A woman that has high interest in you is not going to forget about you in 2 days, and she will excuse you for not talking to her for 3 to 4 days before talking to her again.
7, she doesn't text you first because she knows that you will. So if from the beginning of your friendship and or relationship, you've always been the one to text, then naturally she's falling into this cycle where she expects you to text first. And she knows that if she doesn't, you definitely will, and she will hear from you.
Now that I actually agree with. I agree with the fact that if you're the one that's constantly texting her, It's going to inhibit her feeling to want to reach out to you. And we need a woman to have that feeling because this is part of the attraction process in terms of her building up interest for you. Subconsciously, if she's chasing you, she can't be replacing you. If she's having to occasionally reach out to you, part of her is saying, I'm doing this because I must have an interest in this guy. Why else would I be so stressed about not hearing from him and being so diligent and wanting to reach out to him? Okay. But yeah, if she gets the feeling that you're going to just be there any given time of day to text her, well, then she knows she can lean back, chill out for a couple of days, and then you're still going to text her. In fact, you're probably going to be building up texts on her phone. So she knows at any given time when she's ready to talk to you again, you'll be there to do that because you always reach out to her. Don't be that guy. I'm telling you.
What I would recommend is don't text her for a period and see if she texts you back. If she texts you back, she may be interested in continuing the relationship or friendship. And if she doesn't, then, my guy, that is a clear indication right there and maybe an opportunity for you to actually move on and onto someone else who may be genuinely interested.
Well, no. She could have been genuinely interested at first, but then you were texting her too much. It made her feel like it was too much too soon, that you were a little too needy, and she backed away. All right. So don't misconstrue that. Okay. Women that like you will text you. Women that like you do want to hear from you when you're trying to ask them out. But early on, you trying to have this flirtatious thing where you're just trying to talk for the heck of it and don't do it. It more often than not turns women off.
Number 8, she may be afraid to commit. Yeah, there are some women like that, believe it or not. Not every woman is needy, looking for a man, wants a relationship. There are some women out there who just couldn't care less. And yet again, there's also a whole category of women who are just afraid to commit because of what they've been through in the past. They've had some really nasty experiences with the opposite sex. And it's just like alarm bells going off whenever someone draws closer to her or tries to get her attention or her love.
Yes, but this has nothing to do with texting per se, because being afraid to commit simply means that they don't want to put a title on something. But usually the reason that is because most guys are coming to them, and by date 2 or 3, they're trying to lock the girl down into a relationship, and she hasn't built her feelings up to that yet. But I promise you, even women that will give the spiel like, oh, I'm just afraid to commit, yada, yada, yada. If you are not texting her all the time, not forcing her to hang out with you all the time, not trying to push for a date every single day, and you're doing that consistently for 2 to 3 months, by the 3rd month, she'll start saying things like, well, I know I never wanted to commit, but I hang out with the guy all the time, and I just always think about him, and when he's not contacting me, I'm wishing he would contact, blah, blah, blah. What does all this mean? Do these feelings mean I actually like him and want to commit? So you see, being patient, not texting all the time, these are the things that give women the availability to sit with themselves and really think about how they want to be with you versus feeling like it's a forced thing that all these other guys have done, which then makes her afraid to commit. Because true to form, if you're forcing a woman to try to feel things for you, what else are you going to force her to do in the relationship? So you gotta be cool and calm. But the not texting part, this again, her not texting you does not mean she's afraid to commit. It just means that you're over texting and she's inhibited. Okay? Even if this just turned into a friendship, she could still be a friend woman that would reach out to you if you weren't doing it so much.
9, another reason may be she may not actually be good at texting because her writing or her English sucks, right? She may not be good at writing English. And so she wouldn't want you to, she wouldn't want to make mistakes when she sends you a text message. And so she would rather just sort of wait it out and see if you would, ask her how she's doing. And if you do, she's probably answering with simple responses that are safe, and she wouldn't have to sort of expose herself.
Now, I'll be fair in saying this. I had not considered before the language barrier of if you're an English-speaking person and you're talking to somebody that, say, is mostly knowing Spanish or whatever, that there could be a hindrance to the woman to want to reach out to you. But again, the advantage of not being a person that is trying to text a woman all the time as a means of trying to build rapport in a relationship is that the only time you're reaching out to her is to ask for the date. The only thing she has to respond with is yes, no, sure, what time, and it doesn't require much conversation. So let's say you're talking to somebody that speaks Spanish. Most people know C equals yes and yes equals C. So you reach out to her, hey, dinner, 6 o'clock, cool? She responds back, yes, you, great, pick you up at whatever time, see you soon. Her, can't wait. That's all the conversation you need to have, because we're about trying to get the woman on the date, not about trying to keep her on the phone.
Such a woman, when you see her in person, she's really talkative, she's really engaging, but however, she seems really distant via text. That could be a hidden reason why. Number 10, maybe she just wants to play casual. And playing casual is slightly different from being inaccessible. Because when you're inaccessible, you're just inaccessible. You do not want this person to have access to you as and when they want. Whereas playing it casual is more, I don't want anything more than what currently is. And so I will just continue to respond to you, to be polite. But if I don't hear from you again, I really could not care less. I mean, if you figure out that this is the kind of category your woman falls in, or your friend or someone you really like falls in, then you may not want to continue this relationship at all, because it'll turn out to be a waste of your time. You're looking to make her your girlfriend and inadvertently perhaps your wife in the future, and she just wants to keep it casual because she's really not that into you.
Okay, so playing it casual. This is a thing that I look at and think to myself, so if a woman starts to back away from communication, a guy's going to now say, oh, it's not that she's no longer interested, it's that she's playing this game of wanting to be casual. And I'm here to tell you that, again, I'm stressing, this is why I keep stressing the highly interested part. We're only trying to go for women that are highly interested, meaning ideally you also have a high interest in wanting to get with them on some relationship level, on a hookup level, whatever, okay? So even a woman that's just trying to be casual and just do hookup stuff, how's that hookup going to happen? You guys got to reach out to each other. And so again, the same stuff that works for trying to get a woman to a relationship is the same stuff that works for a woman that's trying to be casual, which is if you're not texting her a lot, she's going to wonder, hey, why isn't he texting me? I thought we had this casual thing going. Like, does he not want to hook up with me anymore? Let me reach out to him and see what's going on. So the casual thing doesn't matter. It boils down to, again, how much are you texting her, and does she have any kind of interest there that is going to be indicative for wanting to be in a relationship with you, wanting to hook up with you, have physical contact with you of some kind, etc., etc. All right?
Not that deep. When you find that out, walk away. Number 11, she may not like you. You're waiting for me to say something else? Hey, she may not like you.
So if she doesn't like you, then obviously that she's not going to reach out to you. So if you reach out to a woman like this and she's not responding back, or she's giving you like 1 or 2 word answers and it's not really like engaging, that should let you know that she's not interested. So again, reason why she's not contacting you, she's saying, oh, one of the reasons she may not like you, that equates with low interest. Women that have low interest are probably not going to be reaching out to you on a consistent basis.
Not least, she may be introverted. Introverted people find it really difficult to open up to others, right? So that might be a good reason why.
So I'm going to say this, because if you're watching this, you're probably an introvert, all right? Introverts make strong connections with people, not a lot of people, but the people that they make strong connections with, they cannot help but want to talk to them and reach out to them because their circle is already so small. So a woman that is introverted is actually more likely to want to reach out to you once she's built up that high level of interest, because you're one of the few people that she actually wants to talk to. Okay? So don't fall for this thing, well, she's not reaching out because she's introverted. No. If she likes you and she wants you to be in her circle, she's reaching out specifically because she's an introvert and because she trusts you and wants to be around you, okay? So as you can see, there was a lot of stuff that she said here that I just highly disagree with. Ultimately, high interest level cuts everything. A woman that has high interest in you is going to reach out to you from time to time, provided that you are not doing the opposite of reaching out to her all the time. Because realistically, outside of asking for dates, you should be keeping the majority of your rapport building to dates specifically and not on the phone where you're building up a litany of text. And you'll find that when women start reaching out to you, you'll have longer conversations naturally because she'll keep asking you questions, try to keep you on the phone. And even then, you need to be able to at some point dead that. If a woman's reaching out to you, that typically means that she's thinking about you and wants to see you. So when she reaches out, this is the time where you can set up a date. You should always be using the phone to try to set up dates and to try to get off the phone as soon as you've set that date, so you can save the majority of your bond connecting through the actual date that you're going on. All right. So hopefully this guys give you some insight. Like I said, she said a lot of things here that I disagree with. There's a lot of advice out there that you're going to hear that is trying to justify, well, a woman's doing this. It's not that she doesn't like you. It's just because of these other various things. If she has a high interest in you, she's going to help you and come towards you and do everything she can to see to it that you know unequivocally that she likes you. If she's not doing that, it means she either has low interest or no interest and doesn't know how to tell you, and you need to be better at reading those signals, not having your ego be bruised when she's not doing these things, and adjust accordingly. But this is how you read this kind of thing. All right. So hopefully this helps out, guys. For more of these shows, you can go to introvertdatingsuccess.com and check out wherever podcasts are found. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/HarryWilmington. You want to show support for the show, you can also leave a Cash App at $HarryWilmington. And of course, go to the website to check out my eBooks, audiobooks, and programs, all designed to help you date as your introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. You can also go there to sign up for one-on-one coaching as well. That's all I got for today, guys. I'm Harry Wilmington, and I'll catch you guys on the next show. I'm out. Peace.